YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back again. Just did a Marcus Peters trade breakdown and grades, and immediately after, Jalen Ramsey traded to the LA Rams, the third trade of the day for them. And the Jags get a pretty good haul back. We'll take a look at it, break it down, and I'll give my grades out. But it actually happened. It finally happened. Jalen Ramsey traded. Maybe he'll magically be healthy again. I think he's been. I don't want to accuse the guy of being fake hurt, but I think he was. I think he was faking it a little bit. I don't know. But extra content on the Patreon. Link in the description. Patreon.com/thegoathouse. Extra content, like I said, score predictions, playoff predictions, NFL mock drafts. We update all of that every single week. So check it out. You help us grow and you gain extra content. And if you're not subscribed to us, I don't know what you're doing. Several videos today, several videos every day. This trade just happened and I'm on it just like that. So please subscribe. Check out our other videos. Click the like button. Turn notifications on so you don't miss anything. Check us out on Twitter. Always live tweeting during games and during trades like this. Let's talk about the trade. Let's break it down before I give my grades. Jalen Ramsey goes to the Rams. The Jags get a 2020 first-round pick, a 2021 first-round pick, a 2021 fourth-round pick. Yeah. Figured he would go to the Chiefs or the Eagles. I wasn't saying that was guaranteed, only those two teams, but I figured if I had to put money on and pick two teams, those would have been the two teams. The Chiefs, I think, I've heard they didn't want to give up this much. And also with their O-line problems all of a sudden and their D-line problems all of a sudden, it made sense because they may need those draft picks. Trade all that for one guy. You still have holes. So even though I kind of wanted them to do it, now I understand it. The Eagles, though, just after the display against Kirk Cousins, I figured they would jump on this. But yeah, I guess they wouldn't offer this much, or maybe they're sitting there like, maybe we should have done this. Who knows? Only they know. But the Rams just trade Marcus Peters, and they trade for Austin Corbett, which really I don't think the Corbett deal has anything to do with this. But I did a previous video just before this. I graded both those trades, and the Marcus Peters trade makes a little more sense now because I said they're without a corner now. Aqib Talib's on the IR. It's Troy Hill. They have Nickel Roby-Coleman, who's a nickel corner, and then David Long, who's most likely a nickel corner, but can play outside, but a pretty good draft pick, pretty good potential. But now they gain Jalen Ramsey. So it makes a little more sense here. But I still am surprised it's the Rams, but after the Marcus Peters deal, not completely, shocked about it at all. So, finally happens. I'd imagine he suits up right away. I don't think he'll be hurt anymore or whatever's going on with him. And the Jags get the draft picks they wanted. We heard they wanted 2 first-rounders, and then we heard a lot of teams wouldn't give it to them, and now they got 2 first and a fourth. So you can't believe everything you hear because, I think all along they wanted more than 2 first-rounders, but we were kind of led to believe that because they wouldn't just out of nowhere get a two first-rounders and a fourth then. So you can't believe what you hear all the time when we talk about those trades. I always do trade scenarios and videos like these. We had a recent giant trade scenario video. A lot of those I think are very realistic and could happen by the trade deadline. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But we got to make our grades here. We got to do our grades for this trade right here. So let's start with the Rams. I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to give the Rams an A here because kind of factoring in is the Peters trade. That kind of makes it better because they cut the Peters cap. And that opened things up, and he wasn't part of their future, and that opened things up to sign Ramsey if they do. I'm assuming they do, but that maybe that's something that kind of plays a part, which doesn't give them an A+. They could have an issue with him. He's caused issues in the past. They do still have to re-sign him to a pretty big payday, so maybe that's where the plus knocks off. Not really. There's something else that kind of knocks off, but still an A. Great grade. Obviously, it's a good trade. They got better. They definitely got better today. Unlike what we were talking about the Peters deal, I thought they got worse today, but now that changed obviously. But what goes into maybe not an A+, maybe not thrilled about it is they still give up some draft picks. They won't have a first round pick for this year or next year, even though I do think that's his value. Right now they're struggling, and I expect them to pick it up. I think they will pick it up, but that's another assumption. A lot of good teams in the NFC. This year's pick, the way they're going, it might be a decent pick. They just get over the Jags, and hopefully Jalen Ramsey's attitude is okay, and maybe he's able to sign. But an A, they got the best corner in football, arguably him or Stephon Gilmore. It's one of the two. and a young corner that's going to continue to play, get better as long as his head's there, his head's right. And I think he'll be worth the money. We'll see what he gets when it's time. But I give it an A. But for the Jags grade, looking at what they got again, a first-round pick this year, a first-round pick next year, and a fourth-round pick next year, 2021. That is. And I give them an A++. I mean, this is... You got to be thrilled with this. You got to be thrilled with it. I know you lost your corner, the guy you drafted just a few years ago, and that's tough. But we can't live in the past here, and they were going to lose this guy anyways. They were going to lose him anyways. He went on podcasts, and he's on record saying he's going elsewhere, and you got a lot of value for him. It would have been good if they got 2 firsts, they get a fourth along with it. The Rams are... they're kind of struggling right now. Not that's where I think, or I'm predicting they'll end up, but the pick looks pretty good right now. Looks pretty good. And the Jags I know they just lost to the Saints and the Panthers and the Saints. So 2-game losing streak, but they look solid. They look close games against both good teams. Saints, one of the better teams in football, and they were winning with Minshew. And I still think Foles is better. What could happen when Foles gets back? That's another conversation. But it looks the offense is looking good for the future. Whether it's Nick Foles or Gardner Minshew, they got DJ Chark working out. You can continue to draft. They can find a corner, and you can continue to draft offense. Fournette's starting to pick it up. There's a lot of good signs in Jacksonville. Even though you're on a 2-game losing streak, a lot of good signs. Ramsey has not been playing anyways. He wasn't going to continue to play. He's going to come up with back injuries, whatever it may be. And you got... they're going to have 2 first-rounders this year. They're going to have 2 first-rounders next year. All right? And look at this draft class, too. This is a perfect time. I'm kind of just thinking this now. And we'll pull this back up so everyone can see it. But this is a perfect time to gain an extra first-round pick for this year. I just thought of this now because of how great of an offensive class it is. And I know you freed up a corner spot, and they could use a linebacker, could use a safety, whatever it may be. So why are you saying it's great because it's an offensive draft class? That's because it's never an offensive draft class, and this is elite offensive draft class. And you don't need a quarterback because you got 2 of them. You can take a look at those top-tier receivers, top-tier whatever you need there. Offensive linemen, there's a really good amount of them. You can never have enough. Today's NFL offensive linemen. And then you can get I like getting those gem cornerbacks, in the 2nd round, the 3rd round. So this is perfect for the Jags. Like I said, never an offensive draft class. So not only is it that, we finally get that, not a defensive draft class, even though there's solid defensive class players. It's a very rare, very good offensive class. So you can really build this up. You can build this up, and it's an offensive league. It's an offensive league right now. Defenses, and they're well coached on defense. They'll figure it out. So I love this trade for the Jags. I like it for the Rams too. I gave it an A because I think he's a hell of a corner. He's still young. I think they're confident. That they can sign him long term. I just worry about the reason I can't give the A+ is because where's their pick going to be and where's this guy's head at. So I guess that's to be determined. So I couldn't drop them down a whole bunch because of that. So an A, and then the Jags get the A+. If we're being realistic, but I like it so much that I threw another plus in there. So if you're a Jags fan, a Rams fan, let me know. If you're neither fan, let me know too your thoughts, what you would grade them. It's always good to see that from any type of fan. But I do want to see where the Jags fans' heads are at. How do you feel about this? Same with the Rams. How do you feel about today? It was a good day because if you for the Rams, really. Overall, a great day because if you look back at my recent video, I gave them a B for Marcus Peters trade, and it's a good deal. It's a good grade still, but I was kind of worried about who their corner would be. But now we know. So that kind of bumps that trade up. Like I talked about the cap situation, you cut the Peters cap out. So that kind of bumps that out. And I gave him a very good grade. If you go check it out at Austin Corbett, that's nothing game-changing or spectacular. You shouldn't expect a whole bunch from him. But in terms of the value, in terms of the deal, it's a good deal. It's a good deal. So, right now they're way positive in the cap situation, what they sent away, what they got at the moment. But obviously, it's going to shift a little bit because they got to extend Ramsey, which you want them to. So that's a good thing there. So very interesting. I wouldn't. I know you added. We'll say it's the best corner in football. I say right at this moment Gilmore, but in general, yeah, we'll give the benefit of the doubt here for the Rams fans for Jalen Ramsey. He's the best corner in football. Something to get excited about. But I'd say for the people getting, insanely pumped, maybe slow it down a little bit because all the issues that come with Ramsey, but mainly because the rest of the secondary, Talib's on the IR. The safeties, they could be a little beat up too. John Johnson came out. Taylor Rapp's missed some games. I like Taylor Rapp a lot, though. That was a great draft pick. I like him a lot, if you remember my draft coverage. So the future, if they can lock up Ramsey, guys can stay healthy. Future's bright, but they're still lacking on the other side at that corner spot, and depending on the injuries at the safety position, one corner isn't going to do, and you got a lot better, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to do everything for you. But kind of feel bad for the teams going to play the Rams still. Some teams got these wins on the Rams when they're really struggling, and they're missing, and they didn't have Jalen Ramsey, and you would think that their offense will pick it up as the season goes on top of them adding Jalen Ramsey. Tough for those other teams, but it's also tough for the Rams because NFC is loaded. I've said I don't know if there's too many elite, Super Bowl contenders. There's some really good teams that I like. Still some teams I want to see more of, but there's a long list of teams that can get in the playoffs. So it's tough to make the playoffs in the NFC today, in today's NFL. So still a tough task for the Rams. They could be giving up a good first-round pick, or it could be, it's still realistic to make the Super Bowl again or more. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Would love to see that. All kinds of videos. Like I said, we did Marcus Peters and Austin Corbett trade grades just before that. Did power rankings earlier today. Straight up picks with the Goat House members coming later tonight. And then my score predictions tomorrow. You get junior score predictions if you're on the Patreon. You also get updated playoff predictions, updated mock drafts, which still will be updated for sure this week and constantly updated. So a lot going on there. Please check it out. Thanks, everyone, for the support. Thanks for watching this video. That's going to do it, though. Goodbye.